Wisdom says I'm nothing, but love says that I'm everything. And it's between those two that my life unfolds.
Hello, thanks for joining me today in my foundational yoga pose series. Today we will be going over downward dog, and Sanskrit known as Adho Mukha Svanasana. This pose is commonly referred to as a resting pose. It's a good base pose, and it's a pose that is working on the stability of the body for a lot of groundwork in yoga. I wanted to kind of bring up what initially brought me into yoga. The first time I'd ever practiced it was a rest type day in a HIIT series. I found myself quite inflexible at that point and was like, what am I doing? And I was quite off put to it for a while. I hadn't really done any poses working on flexibility or mobility, or classes or workouts nearing anything like that, and I really had only begun learning anything about spirituality. But apart from the asana, the learnings of the mind, the learnings of the world, the learnings of any kind of faith, yoga kind of kept appearing in my life, and I began practicing under a YouTube channel by the name of Cole Chance Yoga, and she had her own personal journey through sobriety coming into yoga, and it's just stuck. Yoga was a way that I was able to practice my truth, and that was a long learning, and it's still a learning and will always be. But through sticking through it, I made it through some of my most difficult obstacles in life, and I'm now at a place where I'm happy to start sharing it. So go ahead and get your props today if needed. Yoga blocks, bolsters, pillows, straps, any props you might need to assist you in your pose to reach your fullest capacity. Today we will get started in Tadasana, mountain pose at the top of our mats. Just taking a moment to get into tune with our breath. Full exhales and inhales. Breathing into the back of your ribs, deepest parts of your lungs, your lower spine. We're going to take a 3-part breath. So starting off, we will be breathing into our abdomen. And if needed, you can put your hands on the locations to feel the extent of the breath, kind of help you visualize the breath internally. So we will be breathing into our abdomen in the first part, breathing into our ribs, breathing outwardly, back and frontward. And for the final part, we're breathing up to our heads, and then slowly reversing the order, breathing from upwards into our ribs, into our stomachs, releasing out. We're going to go through a couple rounds of this 3-part breath. You ready? Inhaling into our stomach, raising up to our ribs, finally up to our top of our head. Exhaling in reverse order. Inhaling into our abdomen, feeling your do not have to match my pace. Breathe at a rate that is comfortable for you. Inhaling into our bellies. Rib cage. Up to our heads. Exhaling. Taking a moment to center between each round. Inhaling into our belly. Ribs. Bring the breath up. Exhaling. As you work on practice through this pranayama, the parts can be more defined, more exaggeratory. Initially, it might just be one solid breath and just kind of trying to feel into those places individually, and then the exhales, focusing, it might just be one sudden release, but just kind of trying to visualize a top-down process and the letting go on your exhale of your breath. Exhaling is arguably more important than the inhaling, where we release, we let go of emotion, we let go of thought, we let go of toxins and parts that our bodies build up. And as we age, we stop breathing fully. We tend to live in this tension and everything comes upward. And this breathing practice helps us lower it, let it go, and ground. So coming into the practice, we're going to start at the top of our mats. We're going to go through 3 rounds of sun salutations, and then this will be the only parts of our practice today that we will be standing, so don't worry. So, beginning, we are grounding into our feet. Slight tuck of our tailbones, letting our pelvic floor tilt forward, opening up. Hands steady, carrying our energy towards the ground, shoulders lowered, away from our ears, head held high, confidently, proudly. From here, we're going to go ahead and inhale, bring our arms up, our head stretching out. Exhaling to a forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, knees bent if our hamstrings are feeling tight. Tailbone pointing backwards, spine and head bringing our energy forward. Forward fold, exhaling. Bringing our hands to the ground. I'm going to go ahead and come back to a plank. We're on our knees if needed. We're going to be coming in through a chaturanga. From here, exhaling down, slowly, focusing on the breath, exhaling through the full motion to baby cobra. In baby cobra, we are extending our feet backwards, opposite of our head. Flexing our glutes. That flexing of your glutes and your hamstrings helps release your lower back and come more into the slight backward bend. Our elbows are tucking into our ribs, pinching our scapula back, opening up our chest. And the motion of our head isn't because we're pushing into the ground from our hands, but all of that engagement in our back bodies. Baby cobra, exhaling. From here, tucking our toes underneath, keeping steady body and all of that engagement. coming up to our knees if needed. If not, up to a plank, downward dog. Being that this is the first downward dog and the peak pose of this class, we're going to take a moment here, remembering to maintain our breath. Our breath is always here to fuel us, to bring us back to the wise mind, the center, the energy that we take in from the earth and we give back. The goal here is not that our feet, our heels are touching the ground, but it's to stretch into our front bodies and lengthen our back bodies. We're decompressing our spine, we're opening up our shoulders, we're opening up our sternums. Our heads are pointing towards the ground. We're not pinning our shoulders to our ears. We're keeping space in our shoulders. Our hands are planted firmly. Like last week, as I mentioned, like we're opening up a jar, and that it would be opposite of our left hand, but the right hand would be the opening of the jar. Keeping this L shape in our hands, fingers spread wide, planting firmly into all of the angles of the hand. So no one part of the hand is bearing more weight than the other. Also, if this full pose is at any point too much, our hamstrings are tight, our lower back is tight, it's too much pressure on your arms, we can go ahead and put a bend in our knees. We can shorten the length of this downward dog. We can spread our feet wider. We can also bring blocks into the equation. To kind of give us a boost so that the flexion and the angle isn't all, the weight isn't being bared directly on our upper body on the front half, and that we're giving our legs a little more space to open up. All of these are a downward dog. It is about you doing what you are most capable of doing. Creating that peak from our hands to our tailbones to the ground. Coming back forward to a plank, inhaling, knees dropped if needed. We're going to go ahead and oh, no, I messed that up. Stepping forward to the top of our mats. That could be several steps. One big step, or we can put a hop in there. Halfway lift, inhaling, exhaling. Chin tucked to your chest, releasing your lower back, slight bend in your knees if needed. Lifting up slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, as if there was a string, slowly pulling your head up, while your lower body is grounded into the foundation beneath us, into a mountain pose. Taking a moment here. Bring our arms up, inhaling. Slight back bend, if that's comfortable. Exhaling. All the way through our forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Bring our hands down into a chaturanga. Knees on the ground if needed. Elbows pinned into the sides. Body weight forward, toes tucked underneath. Coming into a higher cobra. So again, here, our feet are pointing backwards. Our glutes are engaged, releasing the lower back, letting us open into our front bodies more. Back down to the ground, exhaling, tucking our toes, inhaling up to a chaturanga, back to a downward dog, exhale. In our downward dog, it doesn't always have to be static. If you need to loosen up your legs a little bit, you can go ahead and cycle your knees back and forth. As you bring your knee forward, the opposite leg that's still grounded, you're pushing into your heel, opening up that mobility in the ankle, stretching out our calf, our hamstring, and our glute, coming back and forth. Remembering to breathe. Get those wiggles out. Get your fullest peak of that pose. And then we're stepping forward, bringing our hands and our feet together. Forward fold. Exhale. Inhaling to a halfway lift. Exhale back down to a forward fold. Rising with an inhale to our Tadasana. Lifting our hands up, inhale. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Planting our hands, feet coming back, knees bent if needed. You can also just lower your elbows down to the ground. Pulling your chest through up into a cobra pose. So in a cobra, glutes are tucked, feet are pointing backwards. Full engagement of that back lower body. Sternum is open wide, shoulders are tucking backwards. You still have that slight engagement of your hands as if you were opening up a jar, which allows you to open your chest up more. And your head isn't bending back, this isn't a full back bend. It's more of a tucking back of your chin, as if you're trying to create a double chin. The difference between a cobra and an upward dog is that engagement, even just a little more, in bringing your knees off the ground. Your feet here can be together. If you have that kind of mobility in your lower body and your back, if that's a little too much pressure on those hips, you can bring your feet wider apart behind you. From your downward dog or upward dog or cobra, tucking your toes, coming to a plank, or your knees if needed, planting your hands firmly, raising your hips to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Again, adjusting your stance with your feet as needed. Resting hands firmly as we bring our chest towards your legs. Creating a peak in our tailbones. Visualizing our heels reaching towards the ground. feet may never reach the ground. It's just that pressure of letting our heels ground gives us space in our upper bodies. I've been practicing for quite some time now, and my heels still don't touch the ground unless I was to bring my feet more forward. But that is not the goal here. From downward dog, we're going to go ahead and drop our knees to the ground. Readjust as needed. Hands planted firmly under our shoulders. Creating space in our shoulders. Holding a tabletop for a moment. Inhaling and exhaling. So with a stable tabletop position, we'll go ahead and do a couple cat-cows. Starting at our tailbone, we're going to tuck, squeezing our glutes from the tailbone, vertebrae by vertebrae, opening forward, looking up, reversing that movement, beginning at the tailbone, tucking, and letting that motion roll through your spine forward. As you open your shoulder blades externally, tucking your chin to your chest into cat pose. Inhaling forward, starting at our tailbone. Exhaling cat. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat. Moving back into the tabletop position. Go ahead and lift our left leg to a sunbird pose. Again, keeping that glute engagement. It's not your adductors that are holding this motion. It's the engagement of your glute and your hamstring. And that feeling as if we are kicking our foot back into a wall, planting on it. Exhaling, bringing our knee down. We'll switch to our right leg. Kicking back. Keeping a full extension. We're not lifting our hips upwards, but in alignment with the opposite side hip that's grounded. So your right leg, your right hip is level with your left while trying to kick back. If you can go further, keeping that even balance across your hips, engaging that glute and that hamstring even more to lift your leg. Notice how I'm still keeping this hip even across the plane of my front torso and my hips. Right leg down, exhale. Just to let it be known, if your breath is feeling waned at all, you're feeling pressure within your breath, that is your body telling you it's a sign to back off a little bit. There's a fine line between pushing yourself or putting yourself into a position where you're not ready to be yet. Regrounding into tabletop. Feet can be on about railroad tracks, so your knees are planted with even spacing between your hips. Toes can be tucked. Feet can be planted on the ground. Lifting our left arm forward. Pulling our arm forward. So we're not using our lats or our shoulder. to pull forward, but we are extending through that external line on our hands. Fingers spread wide, as if you had marbles in between each finger. You want that space to let each ligament get a stretch. Bringing your hand down, exhaling, right arm up. Keeping our hips even here. Your arms should still be in line with your side body. Again, we're not using our side body to pull that forward, but letting our arm stretch us out forward. In line with your ear, your side body. Right arm down, exhale. Inhaling, left leg up. Bringing our left leg out to the side in a gate pose. So here we're going to take a modified child's pose. Again, doing what's comfortable for you. If this is too much pressure on your knees, it's uncomfortable underneath, roll your mat up, grab a pillow for some extra padding. We're going to sit back on that right leg. Also, again, your toes can be tucked. That will stretch into the bottom of your foot line a little more. Toes can be flat on the ground. Having this left leg, outer knife edge of the foot is planted on the ground. So we're not flexing outwards like this, but fully planted on all parts of the foot, bringing our butts back to our heels, hands forward. If this is too much on your toes, to have your toes tucked, have your foot on the top edge, planted on the ground. If that's too much, you can just come to a half position. Use some blocks to create some space in your shoulders. Coming back up, planting our hands firmly, fingers spread wide. Lifting, using our hip, our left leg up to the side, holding one round of breath, inhale, exhale, pulling our leg back, knee planted on the ground. Switching sides. Making sure our hands are in a grip position. Toes tucked, untucked. We're bringing our right leg and hip up. Extending our foot, planting firmly. If this is too much for the back line on your legs, you can keep it curve in your spine. You can stay up. If you're kind of just starting to work into these feet and your legs, we hold a lot of tension in our hips and in our lower bodies, as well as our shoulders, but our hips are the largest joint in our bodies. If it's comfortable, coming into a full modified child's pose, gate pose. Coming back to our breath. Back up to a tabletop. Lifting our right foot out to the side. Making sure that we're staying firmly planted in our hands. Bringing that leg back into tabletop. From here, we're going to lift our left leg, right arm forward. Pulling your right arm into your left knee, tucking. Keeping flexion in that foot. Opening up our backs, our scapula. Pulling that forward. Exhaling. Back to tabletop. Right leg behind. Left arm forward. Pulling that all in together. Arch your back. Ground into that hand, ground into that knee. Back out. Exhale. Back to tabletop. Left leg behind, right arm forward. Bringing that all in. Extend. Exhale to tabletop. Right leg back. Left arm forward. Squeezing in. Extending. Exhale, tabletop. One more round. Inhaling, left leg back. Right arm forward. Pulling that all in. Extending. Inhale. Exhale, tabletop. Last side. Inhale, right leg back, left arm forward. Squeezing in. Extending. Tabletop. Now that we're a bit warmed up, I'm going to go ahead and do some stretches with our wrists. So in that tabletop position, flat back, butt extending backward, head holding forward, space between our shoulders and our ears, and plant our hands firmly. And we're going to sit back, come forward, bringing our shoulders over our hands as much as comfortable. Back, forward. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhale, inhale, exhale. From here, internally rotating your hands as much as comfortable, but making sure that we have plenty of space between each of those fingers. Again, having the marbles between. It's okay if your thumb joints come off the ground a little bit. The more you get used to bearing weight in your wrists and your fingers, the more your hands will flatten out. So with that internal rotation, coming forward, backwards, forward, backwards, inhaling, exhaling. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Externally rotating our hands out. Hands firmly planted, forward, inhale. Shoulders over your hands as much as you can. Back, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Now we're gonna go ahead and turn our hands all the way around. So that same planting of our hands. And from here, you're gonna open up in your feet a little more, tuck your toes. And we're bending into our elbows as much as comfortable. Your hands this may just be enough, just holding here if needed. Coming onto a block and letting your hand come over the side. You're not stretching as much into that back line of your hand here. As we open up here, bending into our elbows more, and coming back and letting your palm lift off the ground. As we let this palm lift, stretching into your digits more, your fingertips will stay planted as you lift that palm and bending into your elbow. Sink back onto your ankles. Go ahead and roll out your hands, shake them out. From there, I'm going to go ahead and tuck our toes behind us. If needed, go ahead and create as much space between the digits of your toes as you can. I have to pull my pinky toes out into what's known as toe torture pose. That's what I've heard it called. If this is too much, again, you can keep your weight forward and just sit back slightly on your toes. Using blocks if needed. Releasing into our feet. Our feet go very much unappreciated. They get us to every single point in our lives. They bear our weight all throughout the day. And often neglected. They become very bound. We put them in shoes all day, we put them in socks. And they don't get a lot of attention. If you want to come into further pose, you can bring your hands back. More breaths. Breathing down into your feet. Coming back into a tabletop. Go ahead and shake them feet out. Readjusting on your mat if needed. From there, we're gonna go ahead and open up our shoulders a bit. Starting on our right side, planting our left hand firmly into the ground, lifting. So in this left hand, we're pushing away. We're not dropping into our shoulder. And we're letting this twist come from our spine. We're not opening our hips up. Exhaling, bringing your hand through. And resting our arms and our shoulders onto the ground. So this opposite hand, a couple things we can do. If this is a lot on this shoulder that's being pinned, you just hold your hand here and kind of keep a puppy dog position with your back. You want to open into both arms a little bit, so get the inside of that left arm's shoulder, your armpit, pulling your hand forward. And here we're reaching out. You can also, if you're wanting to open in your chest a little more, go ahead and bring that left arm back behind our spine. It could be kind of chicken wing behind you. You can come into a full bind, where we're taking that left hand, wrapping it around our back, front of our bellies, and grabbing that right inner hip or our thigh, and rolling this left arm open. Again, if this is too much pressure on your arm, just go ahead and take the first variation. So as we do these yoga poses, the spots that are pinging to you, where you're feeling the sensation, is where we're directing our breath. Where our breath goes, our attention goes. When our attention goes, go back to the breath. The tension is fascial release, years of pressure being built. The more we practice breathing into these tight areas that might be suffering from atrophy, stress, the more over time we begin to open up, we breathe even fuller, our bodies move through life better. From there, you pulling your arm in, pulling your arm back around, planting into our left hand, rolling up to our sides, bringing the right arm to the sky. Always get a good pop there. Planting our hands back into the ground. Now we're going to switch sides, coming into our left side. Reaching up. Pulling this arm through. Again, there's a couple options you can do with your arms. Reaching forward is going to open up into the underside of the opposite hand. And the bind will open into your chest a bit more. Loosening our jaws, loosening our shoulders, breathing deep. From here, pulling your arm in, back around, planting into the right hand, opening up, back to tabletop. From here, we're going to go ahead and come back a little bit. Hips over your knees, feet planted on the ground. Keeping your hips in that line, I'm going to go ahead and extend our arms forward into a puppy pose. It's very similar, good basis of down dog is this puppy pose. And it's that same sensation. The effort we're trying to reach is stretching our chest down towards the ground. Keeping our arms in our armpits, having enough space away from our heads that we're not shrugging, but letting them open up, stretching down towards the ground, hands planted firmly. If you're not feeling that open in these areas, you can have kind of a claw on the ground with your hands. As we open up into this puppy pose, letting our chest stretch down towards the ground. And if you're looking for more, chest starts to come towards the ground, chin forward. Breathing into that low back. Hips above knees still. Releasing. Staying with our breath. Feeling into the tension. Accepting what is. Being here. Slowly re-tucking our heads, bringing our forehead to the ground. Putting strength into our palms, walking our hands back into tabletop. Go ahead and grab blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can use bricks, firm rocks, thicker books if needed. There's quite a lot of options. It does not have to be yoga blocks. I did not have them for a long time. And I also once upon a time thought that having these accessories meant that I was weak, that I was capable of having to do the pose perfectly. These are tools. They help you open into spaces. They help you come back to the foundation. They create space where sometimes our bodies alone, you just don't quite recognize. So having the blocks at the top of the mat, we're going to go ahead and plant our hands on here. Tucking our toes, lifting our hips into a downward dog. Go ahead and pull your feet in a bit closer than you might normally, and a bit wider. Keeping space between our shoulders and our ears, letting our head drop. Still planting firmly into your hands, letting space be in our side bodies, chest pushing towards the legs. Slight bend in your knees if needed even. Pedal out your feet. The upper body motion is kind of like that of a pike. So this pose can be the foundation for many things. As you see, when we spent a lot of time in that tabletop position, from here, the future would look like this is the foundation of a handstand, of any inversion poses, headstand, handstand. Over time, as your hands, your wrists, your shoulders open up, become stronger, the end points of our extremities help us open up into our core, which is where our power is generated, where our organs are kept, where all of our vitals are held. So this constant force of grounding back, pushing out in these outer extremities creates more space into the rest of our body, the vessel of our breath and our being. I've held that for some time. It was a bit more beginner friendly downward dog. Moving our blocks up to our sides. Go ahead and meet me in a seated pose. You can cross your feet. You can also came through there, jumping through. Come to an easy seated pose. From there, we're going to come into fire log pose. If this is too much, you can keep bending the knee. Place a block here. You can extend this leg more forward. Ultimately, we are reaching for flexion in both feet. It's keeping this engagement of our feet. This bend in our ankles helps protect our tibia and our knees. Very precarious joint. And we're grounded there. We're reaching our spines up, lifting our heads, bending forward to fullest capacity. Also, if needed, using a block to help you maintain that lift in your spine without having to put too much pressure. So here, we should be feeling this in the leg that's on top, our right leg, and the outer hip, possibly in your lower back. We're breathing in to refill the tension. As you start to release, coming down, to the fullest expression of fire log that you can today. One of my favorite caveats of yoga is yoga meets you where you're at. Maintaining our steady breath, coming back up, switching our legs, so we have the right leg on top, grounding that, flexing our feet, and coming into fire log with the left leg on top, spine's extending, head lifting, folding forward. As we're folding forward, we're still reaching through our spine until you reach the fullest expression. From there, letting go, putting a bend in your spine. So as you begin the engagement of the pose, it's an opposite pull and push of each end of your body while we're coming into the pose and then fully releasing. This pose can look like this. It can be here. Be here, having space here. Suppose can look like this, as my film director would like to demonstrate. Coming back up. Go ahead and stretch your legs out. Wiggle them if needed. From here, we're going to come into a reverse tabletop. So opposite of the tabletop we did for a majority of the practice. Our feet planted hips width. Knees would be above our ankles. Hands are facing forward. If that's too much, they can be to the side or backwards. Grounding into our feet and our hands. Engaging your glutes. Your glutes are what's lifting you here. opening into our shoulders and creating a flat surface on our front side as much as possible. Opening them shoulders. If it's not too much pressure, be very careful. You can let your head go back. Coming forward, bringing our butts to the back of our heels as we ground. Opening up into the shoulders just a little bit more by bending your elbow and letting that come back while keeping everything else grounded. Slowly dropping into your shoulders. Back up, go ahead and release. Meet me on your back. Once we're on our backs, we go ahead and tuck our knees into our belly. Give yourself a hug for all that work you just put in. You've shown up for yourself today. That's a win. From there, we're going to come into happy baby. If you can't quite reach your feet, you can grab your shins. You can grab the backs of your thighs. If possible, grabbing the outer edges of each foot. And in happy baby, we're keeping our tailbone planted on the ground. So it's not about lifting back up, but having full planting on our back body, head stretched long. We're not bending our necks, opening up our front of our necks forward. As if we're tucking our chin to our chest still, while keeping that tailbone tucked. No matter where we're grabbing with our legs, pulling in. So we're not using our legs to pull our hips into our torsos. We're using our arms to pull in here. The tailbone's still tucked, using our arms to pull in our legs. We're still trying to keep that scapula engagement, or back of our shoulders, into the ground planted firmly, just as much. As we open up here, you can widen your feet while pulling your knees in. Releasing from happy baby. Coming into our final pose, Shavasana. For the first time in this practice, we're letting go of the focus on our breath. Just letting it be, observing. Palms can be face up, face down. Release in our backs. Shoulders still grounded. Shavasana. from here, beginning to bring sensation back into our limbs, fingers and toes. Stretching out into our arms, our legs, our feet, as if we're waking up in the morning. Giving a slight wiggle. Taking a deep breath. Rolling onto a side, possibly. Coming back to our seats. Thank you for joining me in this practice today on a deeper dive and explanation and foundational pose of Downward Dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Hope you have a blessed week. Namaste.
Two corners of the mouth lifting to the sky. That's called a smile.